Welcome to RetroBytes. My name is Brian, and on this show, Sam, Alan, and myself are going to talk about video games and life in general. On today's show, we are talking what games pair well with what drinks, is story important in a game, we introduce the wheel of discussion, and get into the morality of ROMs. RetroBytes is a part of the Retrotopia brand, and you can listen to it for free right now, but eventually it's going to be put behind our Patreon, where you can join for free at patreon.com/Retrotopia. Thank you for listening. Alright, we're here with episode 2. It's me, Sam, and Alan. We're back together again. Boys, how are you?
Doing good. How's everyone else?
Doing great. Late, Sam. Apparently. Yeah, everyone's mad at me.
Yeah, me and Alan have been sitting here for like seven whole minutes while Sam was taking a poop.
We've had to make conversation and everything. It's just been very awkward.
Yeah, well, when you have somebody in the room there who's like the friend of everybody, but the other two guys are like his friend, and it's just like me now, like, how are you doing? It's like, I'm fine.
So, that's not what it was like. I am not that friend for anyone.
Welcome to RetroBytes, episode 2.
Awesome. So what have you guys been up to? Last time we talked like this was a month ago on the inaugural episode of RetroBytes. So obviously we've kept talking, but nobody else knows what we've been up to, so let's tell them.
Sam? Right. You want me to go first?
Go, Sam.
Well, we can talk about the rabbits that I found in my yard.
Yeah, go ahead. That
was cool. There's, little baby rabbits. Rabbits decided that they should have their children in a den of wolves, two hunter killers of rabbits, and then they've just deposited them right in the middle of their territory. So that's cool. I got to figure out how I'm going to help those little fuckers survive for another couple weeks.
In case you can't tell by his voice, Sam just got off work and he is done for the day.
I am done for the day.
And we drag him into this.
Well, I'm not really done for the day. I gotta, I'll look at some stuff later, but.
Let's talk about that.
I'll look
search, Sam.
Look at. Well, I found ratemypussy.com on accident, so.
Yeah, I mean, this is all within like the 5 minutes you were there with us before the show started. Like, we had to start talking, otherwise you would have burned all your good stuff.
I am fucking chaos incarnate.
How about you, Alan? What have you been up to?
Sweating my bollocks off, mostly. Honestly, it is so fucking hot over here right now. I'm full disclosure, literally just sitting here in my pants, window open, just ball soup.
Video version coming.
Yeah, we established that pants means skivvies in British terms.
Yeah,
I don't think that's not out yet, is it?
No, I don't think it is. But yeah,
I can't remember. But
no, I think we did that part off air. Yeah, pants is underpants.
So that's it. So for the what did you call it? Skivvies or undies? Not trousers. We call trousers. And we call underpants pants. So
we just call them underoos.
Underoos.
Did you ever watch Civil War, the Marvel movie?
Underoos.
Underoos. That's what he means because he's in his underwear.
But yeah, I haven't got any rabbits. My cat keeps bringing mice home, so that's
gross.
Yeah, I mean that's been pleasant because obviously you've got to sort that out, and that's a me job.
I'll take a you job.
Hey-o.
Safe search.
Oh man,
no, we've established I don't use that.
Yeah. With Rate My Pussy. I mean, what were you originally looking up?
Rate My Poo. It was an old website where people would post pictures of their poops, and then people would rate them.
And you were so disappointed. You're like searching the internet for that, and it's like, it became Rate My Pussy, and you're like slapping the X button on the top corner there to close.
Not
the
interested.
No, thank you.
So if you're new to the show, this is it. This is the show.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the non-video game show that we kind of discuss video game-ish topics, but we tend to let ourselves go off topic.
Oh, big time.
all the time. But I guess it's my turn now. So what I've been up to over the last month, I got back from vacation from Edmonton, Alberta, and yeah, I haven't got back on a schedule since. I mean, I've been a little bit all over the place. I've been sleeping until like 10 o'clock noon because
Oh,
the
That's a
2 hour
ticket.
time different, and I was on vacation, so I was going to bed late there to begin with, and yeah. So I've been all sorts of messed up for this week, and I finally got myself back on a schedule today. But I'm exhausted because I only got about 4 hours of sleep, and then I partially dislocated my shoulder. I don't know if that makes sense, but I can pop it out of the joint, and
oh
it hurts
shit.
like hell. Yeah, it's so much fun. So when I roll over on my right side, it pops out, and then I wake up from this pain, and then I have to like yank my arm back, and I feel it pop back into place, and then I have to roll back to my left side to fall asleep. But of course, my left side is sore from sleeping on it all the time.
Ooh, you might want to get that looked at.
Yeah, it
Nah,
doesn't
fuck,
sound great.
it's fine. That's we have free healthcare here, but we're always reluctant to use it because, like, no, it's okay. No, it's fine. We'll just put some maple syrup on it and we're good to go.
No, you should definitely go have that looked at.
I don't have a doctor.
Your
God, why
arm's
are
going
you
to
guys?
fall off, and then you're not going to be able to play games.
I will take you
It's not
slathered
true.
in maple syrup, though.
Yeah, you wish.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sharing my maple syrup.
Just all sticky.
Yeah, you can have me just by itself,
Well,
a la mode or whatever it's called.
I'll
That's
bring
with
the
ice
sticky.
cream.
Is that one fine? That works for me too. A little bit warm here. Oh man, when we left, we turned the air conditioning off in my house, and we had kind of a heat wave roll through where it was 33 degrees and then plus
Oh,
40 with humidity. I
Gross.
got back, and because our house was all like sealed up except for a few windows for airflow, the sugar in my fucking coffee sugar jar melted into a clump.
Oh.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's how hot it was in the house. Some of the plants died from dehydration.
Oh, jeez.
Oh god, it was great getting home and seeing all the different things that happened because the house was so goddamn warm.
Yeah,
Oof.
we lost we. It's gonna sound quite pathetic by comparison, but we lost a couple of shrimp from our fish tank. Uh, fuckers literally turned pink. I think they actually cooked in the tank.
Oh
Oh, no
jeez,
way.
Yeah, for real.
did you taste them?
A little bit of cocktail
Uh,
sauce.
Yeah, get a little
well,
garlic butter.
yes, and we're back to rate my poo again.
Yeah,
No, they are valued members of the family.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love those shrimps every day they live. That was a great week.
Pinchy.
A great week.
So, what have you guys been playing this last month? I know we've got a couple of episodes coming out, including by the time you hear this, you should have heard Dissidia is coming out. What do we just? Jet Force Gemini should be out by now. We
Mm-hmm.
got
Mm-hmm.
Metroid Zero Mission coming up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Streets of
Yep. Yep.
Rage 2.
Oh,
Me and Sam sat down. We recorded the Final Fantasy VII remake episode. We got
Yep.
we're finally ahead for once.
Yeah, we are. We are quite
Yeah.
ahead.
we know
Uh,
what we're doing.
yeah. So, what have you guys been playing outside of those?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Alan go first on this one.
All right,
What
cool.
are you
Sam
playing,
has to
bud?
go check his history.
I've got to
delete,
think about
delete.
this because, well, because if we're going for the past month, I mean, I know what I'm playing right now. I'm playing Final Fantasy 13 on the PS3, and you know, yeah, I'm really enjoying that game, despite what people
It-
say. Like yeah, it's a good game. I'm gonna say it. Like,
Wow, wow! There's finally somebody on this planet who likes that game.
absolutely. I mean, I haven't finished. I'm like what chapter 9, I think. So I'm a fair ways through it, and yeah, no complaints. I like the story. I like the characters. Not all the characters, but most of the characters. Um, excuse me. I've been playing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Switch,
Ooh, how you
which
liking that?
it's fucking great. I mean, you know what you get with Donkey Kong Country, and it's brilliant. Like just straight up platforming perfection. I'm gonna. What else have I played recently? I played that Alwa's Awakening, which was a cool little indie Metroidvania. That was, I mean, it's an indie Metroidvania. I mean, brilliant. Loved it. Um, what else? I've done Choo Choo Rocket now. Um, I've recorded a quick play for that as well, so that should be coming out eventually. And there's something I'm forgetting. Oh, I finished Baldur's Gate 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are you gonna roll into Baldur's Gate 3 there?
No, I think I'm gonna sit on that for a while. I mean, it's still like pretty full price at the minute, and I
Yeah.
don't mind. I don't. It's one of those games I can't see going into a sale anytime soon, and I think I put over 100 hours into Baldur's Gate 2, and it's just like
Jeez.
I'm good for the time being. You know, I can let that one sit for a while before I need to go back. I mean,
Oh,
It's
that's good.
crazy. Baldur's Gate 2 and the original Baldur's Gate bundled together are still, I think they got kind of a bump when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, but like on Steam, they're like still $50. It's like
yeah,
fuck off. I played those games when I was in high school on the computer. Like why is it $50 still? It should be like 20.
yeah.
And
Well,
I
then
mean,
the
I know
look at
physical
every
copy on
year's
the
Call
Switch
of
is like
Duty.
$90.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But
got
every
all the
year's
expansions and it's cleaned
Yeah.
up a bit and all the
Oh,
rest
that's
of it,
true.
but
Yeah,
even
yeah.
so,
I just bought the remaster of StarCraft for $9.99. So
ooh,
Yeah,
Sam makes a good point.
that's the price point. Actually, how is that remaster? Cuz that
I I loaded it and I haven't started it yet. It's
oh, you
it's my
boner.
next on my list.
what's what are you playing that on?
I'm playing it on my Asus Ally.
Ah,
Plugged
yeah.
into like a mouse and keyboard, or are you going to try to
No, it's plugged
controller it?
into a mouse and keyboard.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Cool.
I have this
Yeah.
fancy computer that's really great for gaming, but the problem is I bought an ultra wide monitor that's not super great for certain games, especially older ones. So this
Mhm.
little Ally, I got the docking station, lets me plug it into my computer and use my streaming software to play the game on a smaller window. So I look like a real
Nice.
nerd with two keyboards, two mice, and a whole bunch of monitors on my desk.
Unlimited power.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
pretty
much.
much.
You probably feel like you can
Oh, I
control the
can hack
world.
the internets. Oops, I
Yeah.
just kicked the shit out of my speaker.
What about you, Sam? What are you playing?
Yeah, I got 3 going. Well, I finished Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I jumped right into Intermission, so I've been playing around with that. And oh, Brian, I got to the Fort Condor board game,
Oh, good,
and
good.
that's fun.
Yeah, like I said,
It's
they expanded on it in the second game.
Is that
yeah. Oh, that's cool.
is that in intermission?
Yeah,
It's
Oh,
one.
so is it I guess part of the original Final Fantasy VII, where you've
Well, you
got
go to Fort Condor as you're
yeah,
running. It's an optional place to go to, and they give you a little tower defense game to play.
yeah,
hmm
like in the original game, you've got to stop the soldiers coming up the.
yep.
Yeah,
And they
Ah,
but
turned
they've
it
turned
into a
it in.
game. It's almost like Triple
Yeah,
Triad.
that's cool.
Yeah.
it's
I,
really prevalent in the Rebirth there because they've made different locations with the game all over the world.
oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay, yeah, I'll fuck with that
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
cool.
fun.
eventually.
So I was playing around with that a little bit. Let's see. Live Alive. Been playing through that. I think I'm on my 4th character because you can pick of the 7 and do their like little intro stories.
Yeah, that's a fun game, especially when you get to the end and all the stories connect.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because just every character that I play I like more than the last. I started with
Mm.
the Japanese one. Then I went to the Western one. That one was really fun, but it was kind of short. And then I did the like Caveman Times one, and that one was awesome because like there's no dialogue. It's just like pictures in a speech bubble. So it's like like mimicking the fact that like
They
cavemen
did
didn't
really
talk; they
good
just
with that.
grunted. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
um,
not for
yeah,
nothing, but I've put that on my wish list. Live Alive.
yeah, it's good.
After hearing you talk about that, so that's definitely you've sold it to me at least.
Yeah, the 2D HD looks really cool. I've seen some screen caps of the original, and they did a lot to update it and kind of bring it to life. And there's voice acting in it and stuff. It's really
Oh,
cool
I
game.
didn't know it was an original. So where was the
Yeah, yeah.
original one?
Original Famicom out of Japan, never imported or ported over to
Ah,
North America and Europe.
awesome. I
Yeah,
love when they do that.
me too. I'm glad that we're getting some of this stuff that was only in Japan. I
They're
was just
finally
looking.
recognizing 20 to 30 years after that we want these games.
Yeah,
Better
yeah.
late
The
than never.
original looks fine, but they did a ton to like it. I mean, it just like pops
Mm.
in the way that like when we talk about how good Thousand Year Door looked with like that 3D pop up book look. Um, I think this kind of has that same, like, especially the Western. It was a lot of buildings and like going inside buildings that were kind of like intricately put together and looked like a really nice fold out model of a building and like a city street and stuff like that. It's fun to
Yeah,
look at. I love it.
ever since Octopath Traveler came out with that 2D HD style, they've been doing games like that, like Octopath Traveler 2, Triangle Strategy,
Yep.
Live Alive, and they've all looked amazing. What a great retro inspired look those
Yeah.
games have.
Definitely.
And
I've
Dragon
not played
Quest
any
3
of
is going to
them.
look like that.
Yeah.
Rad.
Oh, it's got such a boner for that style. It's so good. Um, and then the last one, I was gonna pick three that I was playing. StarCraft. I think you can play the original StarCraft for free. I don't.
You can actually
Yeah,
get yeah, that's what I originally did. But
which kind of irritates me because I bought it at some point.
well, I did too. Like I bought it way back in the day, but the account I used with the battle.net is
Yeah.
gone now because I don't even use that email anymore. So
Oh,
my
my BattleNet
StarCraft and my
account is still
StarCraft
there.
2 games are gone.
Yeah, I definitely bought it at some point, but now it's free, which is
Kind of
great.
pissed
That
that,
means more
you
people
know,
can play it, and it's a great game. So I'm not too salty about it. But I'm not gonna pony up any money for the remaster. I'm just gonna play the original.
it was
Um,
$9. I figured I would.
well, you'll have to let me know if there's any quality of life improvements because I love StarCraft, but it's just so funny that you order your unit somewhere, and if they it seems like the group is each individual unit within the group is kind of like making split second directional decisions based on like what path they can possibly take, and there's always like two or three stragglers in the back of your group that either just stop or just like try to like walk the long way around.
Like a real military unit.
Yeah, so it's like your dudes are getting like hammered by something, and it's like there's like three dudes just like pacing back and forth in the back. It's like, can you just get up there and start firing? But it's been fun. I'm in like maybe 4 or 5 missions into the Terran campaign. I just decided to play the campaigns again, and man, it's magical. I love that game.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to starting it again. I'm just going to jump into what I did. I assume you're done, Sam, because you said three and you named three.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, I started The Last of Us because I made a deal with one of our listeners, Good A, that I'd play The Last of Us 1 if he played Final Fantasy 6. So I started The Last of Us. For It's a remastered version, but I'm going to assume the PlayStation 3 is not far off because graphically this game is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Uh,
God, yes.
it has those details that I love, like a reflection in the mirror, or when you walk in front of the light, it casts a shadow.
Yeah.
Little things like that. The gameplay itself is kind of where I'm hitting, like, yeah, I like it, no, I don't, because it feels like you're moving story to puzzle, which is just getting past the clickers, and then back to another story arc, then to a puzzle, then to a story arc, then to a puzzle, and it almost feels rinse and repeat after a while.
Mm.
So
I think that's a fair
I'm
take.
I'm reserving judgment because I'm not hating the game right now, but like I said at the beginning when I started playing it, video games usually have this aha moment that just makes me go, okay, now I'm into this game. Uh, I'm about 4 to 5 hours deep, and this one is just hasn't got me enough to make me want to play it all the time. Like I played about an hour today, and I wasn't interested in pushing forward.
Hmm.
So
I think for that one, it's more or less sort of the gameplay that's going to keep you hooked, but you are going to find yourself wanting to know what happens
Yeah,
story
see, that's
wise.
what I'm waiting for, because I do know a little bit of the background of The Last of Us, which
Yeah.
might be why it's taken me so long to get into it.
I
Um,
remember I hopped on one of your streams and you were playing that,
oh yeah,
and
yeah, that was actually the when I started it.
I was on my bus journey home from work, and it was just like, I'm not going to say what happens, of course, no spoilers, but it's just like, I'm sad now.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I'm
it's not
looking forward
really
to
a
getting into
spoiler
that one
because
too.
yeah, it happens at the beginning of the game. But yeah, super sad moment sets up the character Joel.
Yeah.
Uh, I love that. I've played up to that point before, and I knew it was coming, and it still hits you in the heartstrings.
God, yeah.
But I'm going to push forward because if I finish this game, I can force G'day to finish Final Fantasy VI, even though he is a staunch hater of JRPGs. I'll hold him to it. But also been playing. I started Command and Conquer when I was on vacation there, like at my in-laws, because I had my laptop on me and I had the Command and Conquer Remaster Edition. So I figured,
Nice.
why the hell not? And I almost got really hooked on that one. Like I was playing it for about 5 hours one night, just drinking beer.
Nice.
Everybody's in bed. I'm just sitting there, and I looked at my watch. I'm like, oh shit, I should go to bed because we have to go meet some people tomorrow. But yeah, it's that was fun. Uh, I played. I have Streets of Rage 2 ready to go, but because I'm playing The Last of Us right now, I turned my PlayStation off into rest mode so I can just jump back into The Last of Us 2. So I'm going to wait until I really have to play Streets of Rage before I jump into that one.
Yeah, I mean those the streets aren't getting any ragier. They'll kill.
No, no.
No,
Other than that, trying to look around and see.
that Command and
Oh
Conquer
yeah.
remaster looks really good.
Oh, it
Just
is.
if anyone's on the fence about maybe picking that up on Steam or something,
Oh, worth
you
it.
can toggle between the original like really pixely looking, and then into the remaster, and like it plays exactly the same. It just looks better, and
Yeah, no,
that's the
it's
sweet spot.
updating the graphics is all you need to do with that game.
Yeah.
But I did manage while I was in Edmonton to find my white whale of a game, and that's 3D Dot Game Heroes. It's not super rare, but around the area I live in, I could not find it for the life of me. Finally found a copy of that, so I have 3D Dot Game Heroes for the PlayStation 3. If you don't know what that is, it is a Zelda-like game developed by a company and then released in North America by Atlas and Japan by FromSoft. And it has that classic FromSoft difficulty spike, so it's not a game you can just breeze through. But everything is these little 3D pixels, and everything's built out of that, and you get these ridiculously large swords. So
That
getting
looks
back
cool.
into that one is going to be fun.
Oh,
Last time I owned that was when it was first released.
I just looked that up. That looks cute as hell.
Oh, it's
Kind of
adorable, but it's hard and it's fun.
kind of gives me that it kind of gives me like the Zelda Link's Awakening remake or like Tunic vibes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Meets
Well, have you guys ever
Minecraft.
played a game called Evil Land?
No.
Evil Land
Oh,
I have on my Switch.
you gotta play that game. That game is so smartly done because it starts out and it's like 2-bit graphics.
Yeah.
And then as you progress and you find these chests, it upgrades the graphics and it adds text boxes and it adds music as you progress through the game, eventually leading up to like how it becomes to a more modern day graphical style at the end. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's about a 2 to 3 hour game if you push through it, and it is really fun.
Yeah,
Evil
I don't know
Land.
what made me pick that up, but I definitely have it on Switch because I
Yeah,
picked it up on sale one time.
yeah, it should be. Yeah, it's definitely on Switch. Like I think it should be like a $2-3 game. It's not that expensive.
Oh, rad. Okay. I'll check that out.
Time to look it up. Ciao.
That's
Anyway,
Evil
sorry.
Land, right?
Anybody else have
EVOLAND.
any gaming updates?
I definitely
No.
think I'm forgetting something, but
Oh, I started. Sorry, I started Fallen Order. Fuck the Star Wars.
sick.
Yeah,
That's a fucking great game.
I started playing around with it a little bit.
I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
so I'm biased.
Here we go again. Oh yeah. Get your
Uh,
condoms out, boys. It's time to fuck the Star Wars pig.
No, just
No,
raw dog
we
'em.
don't use condoms for that. Yeah, I'm liking it so far. I got to get used to the controls and and the parry and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, it takes some getting used to, and it's not sort of a sort of hack and slash. You do need to sort of think about what you're doing, and
yeah,
don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go away and come back later to certain areas.
yeah, I was like, why do these like scout troops have those like electro beams or whatever, like those little, like what the magnet or the magnet guards had in
Yeah.
episode 3. I was like, why do they have those?
Because
I just want to
fuck you,
block
that's
shots.
Oh man.
Ah,
All right, so that's it. That's the intro of RetroBytes, and let's move on to our initial topic of today, and that is, I'm going to go with Alan. What games pair well with what drink?
oh, buddy, you came to the right place. Because
Absolutely did.
if there's one thing I know, it's how to pair a drink with a game. Let me tell you. What games pair well with what drink? Well, I can only speak from my own personal tastes. I mean, I will drink just about anything, but it really depends what I'm playing. Now, if it's just a generic sort of action game or something that I sort of have to pay attention to, I'll drink my beers, my IPAs, things like that. Something nice and hazy, preferably fruity. Um, but that's because the difference. I don't really. I can focus pretty good if I've had a couple of beers. You know, you get into that sweet spot, just like anything, and whether it's like sports or bowling or something like that, it's just like you're always better after a couple of drinks. If I, it's true.
Certain
It's
sports,
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah.
cornhole
Hockey,
or
not so much.
yeah.
I don't know. I thought.
Football, you don't get down the field; you end up on the sidelines.
Oh, and listen, football and drinking go hand in hand over here. Um, if it's like a big open world game, say I'm just doing some map clearing or just something really chill, then I'll get the whiskey on the go. Because I just find that's not a nice, relaxing drink. You know, I can just lay back, get nice and comfortable, have a couple of whiskeys, and just like I don't know, an Assassin's Creed or something like that. Something with a big map with lots of icons that I can just, what's over there? What's over there? What's over there? I just find that really, you know, jury's out on how long I'll last.
Yeah, obviously.
Because, you
Do
know,
you ever get that point where you've been like just enjoying your beverage to the
yeah.
point it's just I have to stop gaming now because I don't think I can like really give myself to this video game because the alcohol is one?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, listen, I'm a nearly 40-year-old man. A couple of drink,
Nearly.
nearly, yeah, nearly. I'm in my very, very late 20s.
Yeah, I crossed the 40th Street a couple of years ago.
Well, you know what I'm talking about then. It's just like, you know,
Yeah.
used to be you could have a few drinks and you could go until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. But now it's just like if I have a couple of whiskeys and I'm having a nice chilled gaming session, you know, the fatigue, the 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 day catches up with you and you do find yourself fighting a losing battle. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I do
but that's
recall
why
coming home, having a few beers, and just calling it a night ender and going to bed early.
that's fair. I mean, I'm less likely to fall asleep with beer, which is why like I can react better to those faster paced games. But whiskey, man, I get a relax on. And when I will drink gin as well, and that's pretty much reserved for when me and the wife are playing co-op games, and every so often she'll say, "Oh, let's have a little drink and play some games together." And it's invariably a gin because I like to be on the same buzz. So we always work better as a team when we have that same buzz going on. So
That's
nice,
heartwarming.
nice, right? It's very all over warming. That nice bit of gin.
And someday I'm going to get a soundboard working so I can put up like a little happy violin or something as you talk about you and your wife gaming while me and Sam sit here playing by ourselves
You,
lonely.
you need that like Full House. Oh,
Ah,
like 90s family sitcom. Like,
that nice little upbeat sting at the end of a
Oh,
scene.
and then we
yeah.
also need the one where like people kiss and they're like, "Oh."
Woo! Then we need that song there that transitions between scenes. That woo, 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 woo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what if something bad happens?
Or something good. There's one for each.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is.
it's
Yeah.
like
I can't sing, so I'm not going to try to pretend I know what the happy one would sound like.
it's like
I haven't been happy in years. No.
Brian disappoints us all by telling us how much he dislikes Star Wars. Da, da, da.
That's more of like a Price is Right, like boom, 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 wow.
Yeah. Oh man, Sam, what's your drink of choice when you game?
See, I don't
I
drink
mean,
a lot of hard liquor. It's usually just beer. It's a boring answer, but
yeah, no, yeah, but do
it's
you drink like different types of games cause you to drink differently, like Alan said,
mm,
or anything? Or do you just slam them back and hope to hell you make it to the end, and then get angry when you don't?
yeah, not really. I don't know. I guess it's just, and like you said, it catches up with you a little bit. Um, but yeah, was there have been times when like you get into a game and it's um like a dual, like what do you call that, like endorphin, or not endorphins, but what's the thing that we get when we play video games,
Dopamine.
Serotonin,
dopamine, there we go,
dopamine.
yeah,
There you go.
probably
Okay.
that one. But you get like a little buzz going and you're feeling good and you're playing a game. It's just an all around good feeling. So usually for me it's my PBR or my high life,
Mm-hmm.
and some games. It doesn't really matter what game it is. Usually like an RPG. If it's, I'm not sitting there like trying to beat like a tough platformer and like drinking. Usually it's like a nice strategy game or turn-based RPG will pair with alcohol for me, because you can kind of relax and use your noggin a little bit, not have to react so quickly.
Yeah,
There,
that's the big
there
one
you
for
go.
me. Is if I'm going through like a civilization session there, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much my day, because I'll start in the morning and then I'll finish at 10 at night. Partway through that, I'm going to start drinking, and it's going to be just something I can drink a lot of and slowly, which is the IPAs.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And but if I'm, like you said, if I'm playing a game that requires constant button mashing, or I must focus my attention, well, I tend not to drink as much. Period, because I rather focus on the game. That being said, I'm lying. I actually drink most of the times I game, because I'm up in my office and that's where I do my gaming and my drinking. So I'll just my speed of drinking actually adjust to the game, because I'll only have a chance to sip whatever I'm drinking during the cutscenes or when I can pause the game. But I swear to God, every time I get into one of those bad situations where you can't make it past a part, my drinking speeds up to the point I just like I'm done, because all of a sudden, like, beer does make me sleepy after a point, and if I drink it too fast, it'll make me sleepy really quickly. And as soon as my eyes get heavy, I just can't focus on the game, because I become instantly annoyed at every little thing that goes wrong.
You see, I agree with that, but I think I'm just too stupid to quit. And this is probably why, like, kind of suck. I kind of suck at most games, and now I'm thinking about it. It's just like, cause yeah, if I'm drinking beer and playing those like fast-paced action games, maybe that's why like I'm not very good at them.
Oh, possibly, yeah. If you need something with a reaction time and you're drinking something that dulls your reaction, it's kind of like when pot became legal in Canada. I was like, yeah, why not? I'm a 30-something-year-old man now. I'm going to have myself one of those marijuana cigarettes. And nobody explained to me, that pot kicks you in the ass if you're like a new person to it. So yeah, I smoked a joint and I blasted the whole thing there, and I went downstairs feeling fine. I turned on the video game and I was completely locked up, just sitting there holding the controller, staring at the screen, because I was like, I just didn't know what to do. I was just done.
That's because you were trying to play the toaster.
Probably. Oh, that was not a good night for my wife because I went up to bed there and then I kind of threw up my entire nacho dinner
Oh
on
no.
the floor. Then I was like, I'm gonna help you clean. And then I sat on the side of the bed again, completely locked up. And I was like, I can't move.
Oh
Oh no.
jeez.
Yeah, she doesn't let me forget that one. We had to actually replace the carpet because I threw up so much.
Oh my god.
So that's why we don't do drugs, kids, or we do them in moderation. That's
Don't do
when I kind of
nachos.
learned. Yeah, that's
Don't
when I
do
learned about
nachos.
gummies, and you can kind of temper down the amount you put in, and the slow burn is a lot better.
Yeah, that's kind of the way to go.
Yeah. Addiction personality disorder.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that's great. I like. I didn't think we'd get a lot of traction on this topic because honestly, what do you pair with video games is kind of a weird one. For an action game, I like a 1962 Chardonnay.
Mm.
But no, it's kind of fun to hear what you sit back and relax with. You guys snack when you game?
Oh god, yeah.
Not
Absolutely.
usually.
I can't. Like, oh god, I always think of The Simpsons. And it's like, oh no, I got nacho fingerprints on the comic, and then he's like
Yeah,
trying
that's
to lick it off.
yeah,
But
I don't want like salt or like if it's popcorn, like butter or like the any sort of like chip dust on my no, Doritos are for the coffee grinder, not for my
coffee
PlayStation
grinder.
controller.
Oh man, here we go again. A man who never cooks a thing in his life is complaining about the guy who's actually figured it out. Enjoy your overly crusty chicken.
Yeah, it was. It was. I'll get the coffee grinder, grind it into a
Alan,
fine powder.
yeah, there you go. That's what you need. That we discussed. You can just drink it after that.
You can actually snort it too.
That's true. Like Doritos
Oh.
cocaine.
Ew.
So what are you eating, Alan, while you game? You said you're a snacker.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out that obviously I do keep my controllers very clean. I have
Tip
absolute
top, as they
tip
say.
tip top spiffing. I actually have no chill when it comes to snacks, so I will literally whatever I will pause the game, cannonball everything, then go wash my hands and come back. But it's just like whatever's going. Honestly, it's just like crisps or chips, as you chaps call them, are a nice go-to. I mean, sometimes we'll be up there and it's late at night, and we'll just think we've had a couple of beers or a couple of gins or something. Just like should we just get some? Like they have some of these like dessert places around that you can get takeout, and we'll get like some cake or some waffles or something.
No, do you call it takeout or takeaway?
We call it takeaway, but I was
You're Americanizing yourself.
I was just trying to blend
You
in.
don't have to do
Yes,
that for my benefit. I'm the only one here that says things the way I say it. You guys have more
Yeah,
in common than we do,
Wait,
I think.
yeah, because we will go
you
with
might be
both. We'll
sitting there
say
just.
either takeaway or takeout.
I was just worried that Sam's just going to be sitting there, just be like, "Why are they taking away?
Why are they taking away your cake?
Yeah, where's
Yeah.
it going?"
So basically, you order takeaway. It's like you have
It's
something
going to
and they come take it from
ratemypoo.com.
you. Yeah, no. I ordered Chinese takeaway. I had Chinese and they came and took it away.
You know what? I could probably do with that kind of service just to keep myself in check.
Yeah,
Just
take
like
it
Well,
from
yeah.
me.
some
Take
dude
it
who
away.
just comes around and just like, you shouldn't be eating that. I'm going to take it away from you.
Yeah,
Smacks
like
you.
that's
Smack. No.
yeah. That's me and chicken wings, and these fuckers just opened up a new chicken wing spot, like 5 minute walk from my house, and
Oh
I haven't
my
tried it
God.
yet, but I'm going to.
Do you know what? We
'Cause-
we are getting a Popeyes chicken, literally just a couple of minutes away from my house. And since
we just had that.
we were talking about this, but the first time I tried that, you guys know.
Oh, you were you were on a cloud nine, man.
Oh yeah, like, and I get it too because we got Popeye's chicken probably like a decade ago, and we were always apprehensive because it's like, oh, KFC, fuck this Popeye chicken shit. Then we
No.
tried it one time because we wanted something different, and oh my god, never going back.
Yeah,
KFC
for sure.
tastes like chicken assholes now.
But
Yeah.
literally, it is a stone's throw away from my house. It's awesome. So that might be my new gaming snack of choice. Who knows?
Nice Popeyes.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, that's awesome. Topic two. We're cooking actually. We're doing good today. So we of course discussed these ahead of time. So I want your guys' opinion. Let's start with Sam this time.
Oh,
Does
okay.
a story improve the game, or is it just distraction from the action?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, yeah, I've mentioned this before, and I've always maintained that story doesn't matter that much to me in a game. I think gameplay for me is king. Uh, so that's where I struggle sometimes because you get games that are heavily story based, like a Last of Us we were talking about just before, or um, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door was kind of just more story based than a lot of heavy gameplay. Um, I think it's distracting from the action for the most part. A lot of times I get impatient in cutscenes or like long drawn out dialogue, especially if it's not that well put together or engaging. And I just want to get back to playing the game. Um, so yeah, that's kind of
No,
where I stand on it. I think it's an unpopular opinion, but if you're gonna give
well,
me a story, give it to me in like book form.
yeah, well, it's an interesting. It kind of tells your genre of game that you enjoy is more action oriented rather than like role playing games and stuff like that. Because role playing games are story centric
Well, I do
with a
love role
game
playing
built
games.
around
I
them,
just
right?
love the battle systems, and
Mm.
I like to grind and level up and stuff. So I like it from that perspective. But like I'm not playing it because the story is great necessarily.
That's fair.
Well, no, it's not. No, no,
Well,
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I mean, I do completely agree that a game has to be fun to play. I mean, otherwise, what's the point? Yeah, so gameplay is probably the most important thing. That being said, for example, I'm a huge fan of the Metal Gear Solid series, and that game is a those games are probably about 98% story and
Yeah,
2% gameplay, and the gameplay is great most of the time. And and I'm not going to say that I understand the story all the time, but if a story is done well, and these days I genuinely think like a lot of effort is going into the story of a game, and I don't think it's any coincidence that as the story of games gets better, we're starting to see gaming almost take over Hollywood as the principal form of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
well,
Um,
Hollywood's out of ideas.
oh yeah, true enough.
Hollywood is dipping into video games to tell their ideas or
To
to get stories.
varying levels of success. I'm looking at
Yeah.
you, Borderlands. Uh, but I think story can improve the game if it's done well. If the game can stand on its own without a good story, then adding a good story to it is just another layer on the cake. It's always going to make that better, but you have to have the foundation of a good game there in order to get your story across, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit. I guess I'm a little bit waffly on this one because I'm the story first type of person. Like, if a game does not have a good story, I don't care how good the gameplay is, I tend to get bored. I'll take Assassin's Creed 1 as an example. It was a repetitive gameplay. Do three tasks, assassinate your target. Do three tasks, assassinate your target. Rinse and repeat that through the entire game. But I really, really enjoyed the story, and it kept me interested enough to push through that. Um, uh, Other games that have stories that are kind of told in cutscenes between them, that's absolutely fine if that's how it wants to do the level by level gameplays thing. But those games really have to be fun to play. Like The Messenger being an example of that, it had a story
Hmm.
that wasn't really front and center over the gameplay, but the gameplay was so fun, you just wanted to push forward based on that alone. So there's types of games that the story is super important. They're usually role playing games or big games like The Last of Us, because without the story, the gameplay of The Last of Us could not hold up on its own. Same with Uncharted games and all that kind of stuff, because they're story centric games. But you take like Scott Pilgrim or Streets of Rage, you don't need to have big cutscenes with everything that's going on. You just need like a little 5 second. This is the bad guy. This is the person you're supposed to punch. Carry on.
Have at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
um, I
It's
Go ahead.
interesting that you used Assassin's Creed as an example there because I
The
agree with
first
you.
one,
The
not
first,
not like the whole series,
well,
like the
this,
first game in
well,
particular.
exactly. I mean, the first one, I would argue the Ezio trilogy as well, the Assassin's Creed 2 games, all fantastic stories. Now, the further on, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Like, if they
As
keep
am I.
making them, I will keep buying them. There's no question. Like, they've got my money. But it's gotten to the point now where I was hugely invested in the story. And now it's gotten to the point where the story has sort of dropped off a cliff.
Yeah,
But I
they've put
keep
it in the
coming back.
background.
Yeah, but I keep coming back for that gameplay loop. So,
But that's the thing. That's pretty much what I'm talking about. The first game had a very repetitive gameplay loop, but you
mm,
look at like Valhalla and Odyssey and Origins, the gameplay is really fun in those games, and it's not circular like the original game. So they actually managed to go past the story, which they
yeah,
ruined on their own accord, and
yeah.
make the gameplay fun.
Much as I love the series, yeah, 100%. It's gone past three. It's just like do you know what? I've no fucking idea what's going on anymore.
No, and if you know why three is kind of the end of the story, then you know, well, fuck it. You know, the game's old enough. They kill off the protagonist from the first three games at the end of the third one, giving you no satisfaction of like some sort of big resolution that'll happen at the end.
And they could have, but
They really could have. I thought that was how the series was going to go. They were going to do these like historical games up until the series started flailing or like dying off, and then do one final hoorah with the modern day assassin. And I was like so looking forward to that. And then they killed off the modern day assassin at the end of the third game.
then decided that this series rakes in so much money that we need to keep going regardless.
Yeah. And four was fantastic.
Oh,
It had a
best
decent story and
best in
super
the
fun
series.
gameplay.
Best in
Yes,
the series.
absolutely. But yeah, as soon as they went the open world, like Syndicate was really good, Unity was okay. Then they went Origins, and that open world concept was great, but the
hmm
story was yeah,
Well, it's diluted in the open world, isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Odyssey. It's like as soon as you have a big square of a map where you can go anywhere, the story is not linear, and now you're like doing three stories at once.
That said, Cassandra is one of my favorite Assassin's Creed protagonists.
Yeah, I
She's a
uh, I
beast.
I do not disagree with that. Although I do like the twins of Syndicate.
True.
But,
Sam, are you an assassin?
No, I've never played an Assassin's Creed game. I'm just listening to you guys talk about Assassin's Creed.
Uh,
oh my god!
well, there you are. You need to. Well,
Yeah,
Well,
we'll
good
have to.
I
news.
mean, we've probably
We'll have to
sold him
fire
on the
one of those
first
up.
three at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the first one's hard to play. Like, and it's the only one I can't really replay, is because it became so like formulaic that
It's basic. Yeah, it
it's
is.
super basic, but it's such a nice looking game
Yeah,
I'll
it
play a
is good.
basic game. I don't care.
Yeah, it's a good time.
because he was a basic bitch.
Basic bitch. I'd say
Oh,
like just to go back to story in games. I think some of the best games I think at advancing a story and then allowing you to play for an extended period of time is like to take the StarCraft example and this is in Command and Conquer too. When they introduce a mission to you, it kind of advances part of the storyline and you see it in a like either like a cutscene or just like a little case file or whatever, and then you go into your strategy map and then you're gone in that strategy map for like a good hour or so. And then you come back out and you have a little cutscene that advances the story and then you go back into your game for an hour. Like that's a really nice way to playing through like a campaign of a real-time strategy game is a cool way to do that.
I think.
but that's a game where the story doesn't matter to the gameplay, and they're kind of disassociated from each other. Because
No, I think it matters.
well, it matters in the sense of moving like what you're doing next forward, but inside
Right.
the level itself, the story doesn't matter. You have a mission. You destroy the enemy. That's your mission. Say.
Right.
It doesn't matter if the enemy had wine last night or something. That's what those cutscenes in between levels are for, is to say, well, now he's scared and he's running away. Then you go to the next level and it's like, go chase this guy. So
Well, in
it's an
in a
example of a game that has both a story and just gameplay separated but connected in sequence.
well, sometimes this isn't I don't think this happens as much in Command and Conquer as it does in like a StarCraft or a Warcraft 2, but you do have specific objectives that kind of fit into the story. Like the mission I'm playing right now is where the battle cruiser crashes in the middle of like a Zerg hive, and you have to get Jim Raynor to the crashed ship or whatever, and you have to be able to keep the ship from being destroyed while building up your forces to get him there. And then that's kind of how they do it. Like the map where you have to survive for 30 minutes because your colony is being overrun. So there's like different things they can do to kind of fit. And instead of having it just be like, here's a battle, but we're just gonna have a little bit of story before that. The
Yeah,
objectives kind of match to it.
I guess, and that makes sense. But I will stand staunchly on my hill that the story is not as important to a StarCraft game as the gameplay.
Yeah, well, the game. Well, that's yeah. The gameplay is the best. I just think it's the best mix of story to game ratio because I love the gameplay more than I love sitting and listening to a bunch of disposition
Oh, I'll
or exposition
Well,
is the word I'm looking
I'll
for.
take Final Fantasy 16 as an example. That game has chunks of gameplay. Then you hit this like boss battle, and after that, you have about 10 minutes of cutscenes.
Too
And
much.
I
Too
found,
much.
well, see, I found it really good because after the boss battle, which is fairly intensive, fairly intense, I needed a moment to sit back and just take it all in. And the
mm,
cutscene would be about kind of concluding that little section of the game. So I love when they do that because the whole story is happens obviously in little snippets throughout. You hit a checkpoint and he goes, "Oh my god, we have to blah 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 blah," and then you move to the next part and then finally you get the big payoff at the end. The story was through the entire level, but the 10-minute cutscene at the end, and of course the classic Square Enix 45 to 1 hour and a half ending was
Yeah, that makes sense. I I felt the same way after I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake this past week, and it was like that little thing pops up in the bottom corner of the screen that says like Sephiroth defeated, and I was like, awesome. And then I'm watching this cutscene where he's kind of like finishing him off or whatever. I was like, oh my god! I set my controller down because I wanted to relax and just watch the cutscene unfold. But then I picked it up because I was like, just watch. He's gonna like rush up, and then it's gonna say like it's like X is gonna pop up, and I'm not gonna hit it fast enough or something. There's gonna be like
yeah,
some quick time event, but there wasn't, so it was fine.
awesome. I've just thought of something while we were talking. While we're talking about
excellent.
the blend of, I guess that's the point, uh, story and gameplay. But anything that has a morality system sort of makes you integral to the story as well as the
Hmm.
gameplay. So, I mean,
That's really true.
for my
Yeah.
money, and I'm going to bring it up again, but the best story to gameplay to everything ratio is Mass Effect, and this is month two of me putting that out there for a potential episode of Retrotopia.
Oh,
But
I'd love to.
obviously, your
We're
decisions,
busy.
well, get less busy. It's worth it. But yeah, as I say, anything where your actions actually direct the story sort of makes both
So
gameplay
like
and story like equally as important.
yeah, so games like Knights of the Old Republic
Yep.
or
Yeah,
Fable, where
yeah,
if you go around
absolutely.
being a dick, your character changes.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that more the sort of Knights of the Old Republic, well, BioWare, I guess, in a nutshell. I think Fable, while having a good morality system, I mean, the story is, it's there, but it's not as intrusive. It just feels like in something like Mass Effect, none of the action is wasted. It just feels like everything you are doing is driving some sort of storyline, even if it's a side mission, but that will come full circle to affect the main story in some way, whether it be in the first, second, or third game, because as you know, they all follow sequentially with the choices that you've made. So it literally feels like just everything you're doing is important while also being fucking fun to play.
Now, having never played a Mass Effect, I'll take your word on that. But
Yeah,
Going
take
back
it
to
all
your,
right.
will it be getting an episode? Yes, it's going to be getting an episode, but it's a Mass Effect game. It's going to take a long time to play because it's a role playing game. So we got to get the ones we have on the table off the table before we can put another one on because we've learned we can't do a role playing game every month because they're too fucking long.
That's all right. We can do it for my
yeah,
birthday.
it's tough.
Yeah, so now we try to do one role playing game at a time, record the episode, and then start the
I
second one.
know.
Always with your Mass Effect
I'm
agenda
just
there.
planting my flag.
I had a bad image or a good image, depending on what side you're on.
It was a good one.
No, yeah, no, I honestly, I love stories in games, and it goes with movies, TV shows, books. Everything I focus on has to have a good story. Uh, I don't like military based stories. Like somebody asked me once why I never watch military movies, and it's because I was in the military and I just don't care about that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So watching old World War II movies or Oppenheimer or things like that, it holds no interest to me because for me, these movies and these stories are meant to be a way to take me away from reality. So, which is why I kind of like the fantasy stories a lot more because I don't have to sit there and think about like the real world consequences. I can just pretend that the dragon is cool and the fire breathing is awesome.
Yeah, dragons are always cool.
They are. Dragon D's nuts.
Ooh,
But
got him.
but yeah, so when it comes to video games, I've played games where the gameplay has been kind of middle, like a 5 out of 10, but the story has been so good I've pushed through the game. But there's games with really fun gameplay but shitty stories, and I just couldn't interest myself to finish it.
Well, there you
Oh,
I
go.
don't know
see,
if
I'll
you
I'll
guys
stick
ever.
with the game. I'll stick with the game for good gameplay.
See,
I'll,
this is where I guess
I'll
we're gonna
stick
have
with a
to
game
agree
for
to
bad
disagree.
gameplay and bad
Yeah, I know
story.
you'll.
Like,
Bad
Yeah, you'll.
gameplay and bad story. Yeah, I play those especially. Those are the best.
Yeah, we've had some fun games. Animaniacs, Jet Force Gemini, but
Animaniacs.
I mean, Jet Force Gemini could be an example. It could have had a great story, but the gameplay was just so awful that I couldn't even get through it.
The story
Like,
wasn't that great either. It was
yeah,
fine.
probably not, but it was rare. They were a gem. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, that's my I guess my final thought on stories. You guys want to wrap anything up here, or do you want to get to the special segment?
No, I
no,
want to. I want to spin this fucking wheel.
yeah, let's
The
let's
wheel, yes.
spin the wheel of topics.
So yeah, so last episode we talked about it and we thought it would be fun if we could have a random topic. So I jumped online and I found a randomizer and got 100 different topics, put it in this wheel, and there is a video so the guys can see. Unfortunately, we haven't got the video podcast working yet, and we don't know when we will. But we're going to have a random topic. Nobody knows what it is, even myself. I've shuffled everything, and once I hit the button, we're going to find out what our next topic is.
Sam
Nice.
search
Here we
history.
go.
Spinning.
Sam search
Can
history.
confirm.
Sam search history.
Oh God.
Sam search history. What do we got? What do we got?
I can't even see that. Oh.
How gaming has affected friendships and relationships.
Why is it
I like this
backwards?
topic.
Oh, damn.
Is it
How?
backwards?
Yeah,
is
it's backwards for me. It's fine though. How gaming has affected friendships and relationships.
Oh, there we are. It's the right way around. Go on. You've got something cooking, Sam.
It's that and.
Yeah, it
it's
sounds
that
like it.
and. It's that and.
Oh,
okay.
Go ahead, Sam.
Fire
We're
away.
going to let you go first because
Oh, great.
you've already put your foot halfway in your mouth. You might as well get it all the way in there.
Well, we'll start with the friendships part because that's, when we were kids or adolescents or in our 20s, I think video games was kind of a way that we could bond with each other in a way where,
James Bond.
yeah, James Bond. Well, what really James Bond, because we were playing a lot of GoldenEye, but yeah, that was, I remember like you'd meet people in college or whatever, like you're stuck with all these random people that you don't know and have to get to know over the course of the next year or more if you become friends. But yeah, I remember bonding over like Battlefront 2 This is back in the PlayStation 2 era. And like God of War, I remember we were playing that a lot. So that's one of those things where if you meet someone or you talk to someone you don't know, and then you find that you have, either a love of video games or a love of a specific video game in common, that's a great starting point, for a budding friendship or just a general conversation. So
For sure.
yeah, that's a good place to start. Relationships, tough because for a while, I wasn't doing a whole lot of video gaming because I was focused on either the relationship I was in or trying to pretend that I was a little bit more mature than I am in reality. So it's tough. I mean, I still haven't found that sweet spot where you're in a relationship and then also can game to your heart's content, and maybe that doesn't exist. So or it does because you're Alan and your wife is cool and wants to play games with you while drinking gin.
Absolutely.
Hashtag
Brian's a
life
loser,
goals.
right?
You can play games
goals.
with me and drink gin, Brian.
I would love to cuddle up with you on the couch and watch you play some retro games. I mean, this is a life goal.
I mean,
Mhm.
not at the moment though. It's still 30 some odd degrees over here, so you cuddle me
Oh
from
my
a
god.
distance.
Yeah, we'd stick together there and we'd become Browlin.
I just got. Oh, it's like your
That one was a
fusion
slow
form.
burn.
Fusion. Ha!
Oh, you'd be unstoppable.
We can now drink twice as many beers.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
That's your power, is you could just drink more than what either one of you could on your own.
That's
But yeah, I'm not a
lovely.
good person to ask about relationships. So
If you don't mind, Alex, or not
pass.
Alex, sorry, Alan, I'll jump in
Who
next
the
because I
fuck
do
is
have some
Alex?
thoughts. My son.
That's like when you sorry, speaking of relationships, has your phone ever auto corrected like as something you're trying to type into like a proper name and it's like a lady's name? And it's just like,
Thankfully, no.
oh, it's happened to me, and it's like, oh, here comes the argument. Like, oh, well,
My
who's
wife knows me
Stacy?
well enough
Yeah.
that if I did that, she'd be like, yeah, he just fucked up on the phone.
Well, that's
There you
cool. Yeah.
Old fat fingers Brian, they're typing away again. I keep missing the end button on my phone, like habitually missing the end button. So if you ever see me in Discord and one word's fucked up, try adding an N where the space is. That usually will make the word look right.
Cool.
Is that why your username is Captain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that took me a second.
But going back to the whole friendships and relationships, I'll talk about the relationship first because my wife is a big gamer now, but she wasn't when I met her. She was the I guess I don't know what she really was because I met her not long after she broke up with her fiance. So I was the rebound. I stuck around, but she had a small collection of PS2 games. And of course, I had my Nintendo, my Super Nintendo, my N64, my GameCube. I had like all those up to the PlayStation 2. And we moved in together fairly quickly because of reasons. Like it was just a fucked up situation that she basically one day said, "Why don't you just move in with me?" And it was not long into the relationship, so we had to butt some heads to kind of get things sorted out. And I brought my entire video game collection in there, and she started playing games a little bit at a time, and eventually came to the point where we had to buy second consoles so I could actually play the games I bought.
Right.
And it's translated into today because I have my office, which I use primarily for like streaming and stuff like that. We actually own two PlayStations, two Xboxes, two Switches. We each have our own gaming computer, and we did that before I retired because obviously I can't afford that crap anymore. But we've played games together. We've had good times, but we primarily just one of us will game while the other sits on the couch and just spends time with them.
Yeah.
So it has helped our relationship. And also, we are very independent people. So, as much as we love each other, we don't have to spend all our time together. And that's kind of a product of how our relationship unfolded. It's in the first 2 years we were together, we were actually only in the same like living location for less than 6 months of staggered time. So, we stayed together. We persevered through it. We have a kid now. We're happy, a house, and all that stuff. We have our own gaming areas. You know, we do spend time together. We do play games like what's that one? The two different characters that you have to work together.
It Takes Two.
Takes Two.
It Takes Two. Yes, we
That
played
game
that
is
game.
so
That's cool.
charming.
That's awesome.
Absolutely fantastic, and it was a game where we didn't fight. Like what's the other one? Cooking something.
Overcooked.
Overcooked 2. We played that, and that was a relationship ender.
Yeah.
But It Takes Two. No, we enjoyed that game. We had fun because of cooperatively focused game. We actually realized that we do like helping each other. As for friendships, gaming has made me all the friends I have today because I moved around a lot as a kid and as an adult. So keeping long term relationships doesn't always happen. Like I have my best friend who lives in Montreal, there about 2.5 hours away, and I try to see him as much as I can. And I'm falling behind because we were supposed to get together before the end of August, and I don't know if it's going to happen right now. But Yeah, everybody else I met who I currently kind of talk to on a regular basis, I met on the Remember the Game Discord, and I've started meeting a lot of them in real life, and they've become really good friends. Especially like somebody like Good A McGee, who are listeners of this podcast. I go see them regularly, and then there's another guy out of Edmonton. Like when I was in Edmonton, I met 6 different people from that Remember the Game Discord who we just talked, and it was just
Amazing.
kind of a nice way to have something in common. So it's it is kind of amazing how as an adult I can barely talk to my neighbors, but all these people online, because we have something in common that we're not embarrassed to like admit, which is video games, we can actually have like big conversations. And we used to play Among Us every Wednesday night, and it was just a great time. It was like the only thing I looked forward to in the week for a long time.
Yeah,
So yeah,
That Among Us was a good time. I joined in a few times, like kind of late. Do you guys still play?
no, we've fallen out because a lot of people are busy nowadays, and
Yeah.
lives shift around, and some people just don't want to play the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But No, that's just basically how my relationships with gamings and friends, because people online, like playing games online with random people, I absolutely do not want to do that.
No,
No.
100% no.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what it is. Like I can play online with like say the three of us got together and we decided to play a competitive game. I could have a great time with you guys because we could chirp each other and have some fun with it.
Yeah,
But
it's
you
all
go
in good fun.
online with random people and they get angry when they lose, and it's just like it's
Oh,
a fucking game.
it's just like
Yeah.
that. My one and only Halo multiplayer experience pretty much ended
Counter
like
Strike
that.
for me.
I've never gone back. Yeah, people suck.
Yeah, so Alan, what's your experience with relationships and gaming?
Well, I mean, a lot like what you guys have said. I mean, early days, it was my mum would work a lot, so me and my brother would be shipped off to our nans or whatever, and we'd take a games console with us, and we'd play together all the time. So right from the hop, me and my brother were always gaming together, and even to this day, we still sort of talk about games and you know reminisce about this soundtrack for this game or that part of that game, and that's a lot of fun. And then obviously, like you said, going to school, everyone has different interests, and it gets really difficult to find that little niche that you fit into. Um, I actually the group of friends that I'm still friends with today, I actually found outside of school, funnily enough, which is why I stopped going. But but yeah, we would literally all cram into this one dude's house and sit around playing literally everything. We'd have Mortal Kombat tournaments. We'd
Oh
just
man,
like, and there'd be drinks, and it's just everyone's having a good time. And
I assume you're an adult at this point, not like a 14-year-old drinking.
oh yeah, absolutely, definitely almost of age. And
Almost at a boy.
but yeah, and we would pop out and skateboard and just fuck around, and then we'd go back to this one dude's house and just play video games until the wee hours of the morning. And it's a wonderful thing. And then obviously everyone gets lives and does different things, and a lot of them don't game anymore. But as to belabor the point, obviously now my wife and I um, have a great setup. We both play. I distinctly remember sort of in our early days, in our courtship, when we weren't living together, we'd have the headsets on and we'd be co-oping games and
Oh,
just
that's
just
amazing.
oh yeah, one of my favorite stories involves Dead Space 3. And
Oh
if
God.
if you know, you know. But what that game does is really fucking clever, because you are co-oping. One is Isaac Clarke, one is the other guy. I can't think of his name now. But different things will happen to different characters, even in the same room. So, you know, my wife's character, well, my girlfriend at the time, uh, just randomly started freaking out and screaming down the headset. And obviously, I'm in this corridor, nothing is fucking happening, but her character is seeing all sorts of fucked up shit. And it's just like, to this day, it's just like, I'm just like, are you mad? Like, what? There's nothing here. And it's just like so much fun. But yeah, like I say, we are currently working through lots of different co-op games. We want to play Borderlands, some Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. It's just a lot of fun to have someone to play games with, you know, to succeed together. And then, of
You're
course,
making Sam sad.
no, because
Yeah. Well,
I'm about to make Sam very, very happy, because of course, it has led me to this wonderful new friendship with you beautiful people.
that's
That's
true.
true,
Again,
yeah.
through a love of gaming, here I am sitting at 11 o'clock at night talking to genuinely two of my newest friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's amazing how well we got on, like, so quickly. Uh, like, me and Sam barely knew each other when we started this. Like, we had a few conversations, and now I feel like I could just pop into his house, knock on the door with a case of beer, and we'd sit down, have a great conversation and a good gaming session.
Sure could,
And
buddy.
same with you, Alan. I mean, like, it's just amazing how quickly we've just kind of melded into this. Instead of just three people doing a podcast, a group of friends from
Yeah,
three different locations being able to
100%.
sit down and talk.
And I'm currently working on tunneling my way into Sam's house.
Yeah,
fucking
I am too,
fucking
but
rabbits. You think
Is
it's
that what you?
the
Is that what those
rabbits.
are from? Yeah. It's just like,
Those are
those are
his
actually.
slippers, man.
Yep.
Those are your poops.
Yep.
His poops. I don't know. Check ratemypoop.com.
Yeah. They're a
Safe
lie.
That's
search.
going to
Is that
keep
a
coming up
problem?
now because of poops.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say though, Alan, if you're gaming with your wife when she was your girlfriend and it was like the courtship phase, did you ever run into that? Like, no, you hang up. No, you turn the console off. No, you turn it off.
Oh, yeah,
No,
absolutely.
you put it in rest mode. No, you put it in rest mode. I don't
You
want to
guys,
rest.
you guys know full well I have no idea what rest mode is.
Yeah. Oh man. But something I forgot to mention is like Sam, you're both are kind of talking about like younger friendships. Uh, when I was a kid, one of the things I loved was sleepovers, and we would get everybody with their like case of Nintendo games, and we'd have chips and pops, and be allowed to stay up until whatever time. So we'd roll out our sleeping bags, and we would game all night, just swapping cartridges and whoever was playing, and we would have the greatest whole time. But there came a point in my childhood where playing video games became like the unpopular nerdy thing. Oh, you're a fucking loser, you're a loner. And then of course that Grand Theft Auto Columbine connection happened with that
Mm,
lawyer Jack something,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden it became, well, if you're a video gamer, you're obviously prone to violence and stuff like that. So there was a period where being a gamer, at least where I lived, was considered a taboo, and you just kind of hid it from people. I remember I used to play hockey as a kid, and I got made fun of because I played NHL 94 and I wasn't, an NHL level player on the ice. I was just a standard everyday child hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
And they would make fun of me. Like, oh, go back to your video games. You can't play real games with your thumbs, can you? And it was like, I don't get the point of it, but this is what they would like to make fun of me for. So for a while, I just never told anybody I played video games. I just kind of tucked them into a classic what?
Classic chirps. Like,
yeah.
What?
But now, like those same people nowadays, they have all the consoles. Like, they got the Call of Duties because they play whatever's popular.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's the,
fair weather gamers.
There's your gamers that like that game as a hobby, and then there's the people that'll, buy a PS5 and all they've got on it is like, NBA 2K and, Call of Duty. That's not us.
And
that's
for NBA 2K, they just put both teams on the computer mode, and that way they just watch an NBA game.
Just dip in and dip out as they're like, where were you guys when I was playing Sonic 06, you fuckers?
Yeah.
I've suffered like you'll never know.
I've seen the websites.
Oh God, Sam.
I know what
your
Sonic's
search
been doing.
history. We've now have a pact that me and Alan, when you die, are going to get to your house before anybody else can, especially your family. And we're going to erase that search history.
Oh, thank you.
I
was going to say I'll leave it to you in my will, and to Brian and Alan my search history.
FBI knocks on my door. Does this belong to you now? Like, oh,
I'm just going to straight up burn it. I'm not even going to look.
Oh man. Any final words on how gaming has affected friendships and relationships?
Nah, I'm good.
No, but I second what you said. I've found a lot of good friendships of people that share my interests, and I'm hoping to meet up with some local folks around here, because that game shop that I frequent, there people go hang out there, and there's a pretty good crowd there. So,
what game shop is that, Sam?
Fuckers. Game Together. Go check them out. Game Together Milwaukee.
You can find their web address at ratemypoop.com.
No, don't go to that. That's a bad website.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're going to be banned from the store now. And he's like, "Oh no, man, you just associated me with that crap." Literally.
I do have to tell my buddy about what happened to ratemypoo.com, because he'll be disappointed. Oh man,
hanging on every turd.
Yeah, there's
like
there's sadness in every story. All right, final topic of the day, what we call the hook. Alan, we kind of pre-talked about this at the beginning. You said you might not have a lot to throw in there, but you can still have an opinion.
I've got some.
Yeah. So the final topic is the morality of ROMs, because they kind of came up again when Nintendo has been trying to shut down ROM sites, and they've been successful in a couple of ways. But I just got a bunch of ROMs myself, and they're all over the place. You Google search ROMs, you go to pirating sites, ROMs are everywhere. Not that I know personally. I just have a friend who told me, wink, wink, hint, hint.
It was me.
How many years do you think a game should be off the shelf before it becomes public domain? I know copyright says like 70 years, but I mean, look at the Super Nintendo era. If they're not giving us those games back, should they be ROMs? Like, should we be allowed to download them, or do pay some nerd like hundreds of dollars more than the game is worth?
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Yeah, because was it you, Sam, who told me you found a inbox Chrono Trigger copy for $900?
Ooh.
It is quite expensive, but yeah, I think that one's probably sealed.
But still, a game,
some sort of mint condition. Yeah,
a game that cost originally like $40 is now valued at $900. And the thing is, the money that you pay for that game is going to some nerd, not the developers who made the game. So they're not profiting off of this game. It just goes to some random person who happened to be lucky or smart enough to keep a copy of the game. So
right, or it's like not to say anything about someone who does resell games like a retro shop, but like the market dictates what the prices are. That's only
absolutely.
Yeah, that's only the price because that's the going rate for, either a game or a game in that condition. But there's definitely, you look at not only the Super Nintendo but the PS1. There are some PS1 RPGs and like God, like Silent Hill, even like into the PS2. There are games that are well over $100 just for the game, and
Yeah.
we're not. It's going to be tough for us to cover that unless we can emulate it, and it's not made available by my thing. It's like if it's not made available for me to purchase by the rights holder, then it's fair game for me to emulate if I need to play it for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some examples before anybody else jumps in here. Tetris for the Sega Genesis valued between 2,500 and 14,000 euros.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
There's a Tetris on the Mega Drive?
Apparently it's rare.
Well,
Yeah, I guess
I've
if it's a
never heard
rare
of it.
game, but yeah, if I want to review that, I'm not going to go find a cartridge of it and
No.
bankrupt myself. I'm going to fucking emulate it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
The most valuable game I have on here is Gamma Attack for the Atari 2600, valued at 500,000 to 443,000 euros.
Jesus.
Oh, get bent.
Yeah, so
Those are extreme examples, but still.
Yeah.
they are.
Absolutely. And I agree. Like, obviously, you do need to support the hobby if you can do so. But like you said, Sam, I mean, if nobody's doing anything with an IP, if you can't buy it anywhere, then it sort of becomes a matter for sort of gaming preservation in a way.
Right.
In so much as, I mean, I don't know if I could slap how many years on a game before it becomes, say, public domain. Like, actually, just today, a buddy of mine showed me. He's got one of those. I can't think what it's called, but one of those little handheld dealies that's got fucking hundreds of games on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blown away because like it goes up to like the Dreamcast, the PSP. I think there's some PlayStation 2 games on there and what have you. And like these things are capable of running that stuff now. So hypothetically, you could emulate almost anything. And I think
Well, you can emulate Switch games.
Yeah, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah,
though.
that I would have to say. At that
The
point,
games-
you're sort of stealing.
Well, the game's
line might be
available
drawn
from the
before that.
publisher.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, here's an example. Like we covered Rondo of Blood not too long ago, and I mean, I have it on the PSP because that's how I originally played it, and I've got that copy. But if I didn't have that copy, I wasn't about to go out and spend what is Dracula X Chronicles running right now, like $60 or more for a PSP copy.
It was something 50, 60, yeah.
I got Rondo of Blood on the PlayStation for $9.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I did the same.
Well,
and that's how I played it then, because like I just didn't find my PSP hardware to be reliable enough to want to sit and play it on there.
Oh, okay.
So I grabbed, like I was gonna say, if I didn't have it, I wasn't gonna sit there and emulate it if there was a way to purchase it. So that's where I, even if it is a retro game that's not super readily available right now, if there is a way to play it or a version of it on a modern console and pay the money, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and it's also a lot easier and more accessible that way. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I have used ROMs in the past, and when I was a lot younger and understood computers a lot more than I do now, sure, I was like emulating Pokemon games or, I mean, we didn't have the funds to just play all of these games, and maybe it was right, maybe it was wrong, it's up for debate, but I wanted to play these games and somebody showed me that this is a way I could do it, so sure. But it's not the easiest way to play games. I mean, if you can get them on your console, on your Switch or something like that, then I almost see that paying the money is not only supporting the hobby, but I'm also paying for the convenience of the thing.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
No, it's no, I get what you're saying. Like, it goes with my position. If the game is available to purchase, then a ROM is unethical in the manner that you have a means to pay the publisher, the
Right.
person who has the copyright to it, money for this product, as opposed to going to a reseller who takes all that profit for themselves but had
Uh-huh.
nothing to do with the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for me, like with Rondo of Blood, I could have emulated. I actually have the ROM of Rondo of Blood. I had it all set up to go, and then Sam told me about it being available on the PlayStation, and the value was good. $6 for a game I'll probably play once and never play again.
Yep.
So that's how I played
Or
the
almost
game.
play once.
Yeah,
Hey,
almost.
plus,
I got to
y-
level 2.
plus you got uh, what is it? Bleh,
Symphony
the
of the Night.
PlayStation Symphony of the Night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got
but
that one on there too.
yeah. Further to that point, though, take a game like Chrono Trigger. I've emulated that on stream, but
Mm-hmm.
I've bought Chrono Trigger twice on the Super Nintendo, once on the PlayStation, once on my mobile phone, once on Steam. I have every copy of Chrono Trigger that's been released,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and well, sorry, I don't have the Super Nintendo ones anymore, but every other one I still have. So, is it unethical for me to use a ROM as a means to make it easier for me to play it on my computer? Because I used the SNES Classic, the little mini there, to play it on my computer. But again, I've paid for this game multiple times over.
Yeah, I think you're
Right.
good at that point. I mean, you've
Yeah,
paid you've
so
Yeah.
paid your dues many times over.
and that's like a lot of stuff. There was a law, and I don't know if it's still applicable in Canada, but back in the days of cassette tapes, there was a fee put on the tape and CDs and DVDs, like the burnable ones,
Oh, the blanks.
that
Yeah.
would pay the artists. Well, not the artists, but would go into a fund to pay, I guess, be dispersed. So that made copying songs off the radio like a means where they can't come after you financially. And even in Canada, we have something called a notice to notice. So what it is let's say you download a movie and the studio or the copyright holder says, "Hey, we got this IP address and he's downloading this movie." Well, they send it to the internet provider whose only responsibility is to send you a generic email saying, you've been noticed that you're downloading this. It could lead up to a $5,000 fine, which is the max in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and respond to them if you want. Otherwise, just ignore it and nothing will happen. So there's blocks to stop us from being kind of like what happened in the States where 12-year-olds are being given like threats of
Yeah.
jail time and stuff.
Yeah, we,
Jeez.
we we came down hard, and like it didn't happen to everyone, but there was always that risk, like, oh, are you downloading stuff? You better watch out because they could fine you up to $10,000 and put you
Yeah,
in
you
prison.
wouldn't download a car. I was like, goddamn right I would. Do you know how
Yeah,
much
I would
cars
if I
cost?
could. Yeah, yeah, if I
Yeah.
could, I'd be downloading a goddamn car. But I
But
think,
no, go ahead,
yeah.
Sam.
Well, there's a gray area too because when we covered Super Mario RPG, I emulated that because I wanted to play the original Super Nintendo version, but I still did purchase the remake on the Switch. So it's like, um, there's a bit of gray.
Yeah.
Not everything is just straight, right or wrong, black and white, whatever. But
Yeah, and there's
generally, yeah,
games that haven't been made available in our region, like Terra
I
Enigma
was
is the
literally
sequel.
about to
yeah,
say that when he said about the original
Yeah.
SNES version. Like, we didn't get that. So what was I supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. It was like I only heard about Terra Enigma in like 2020, and I found the ROM because there's absolutely no way I was going to get a playable version of the game that's never been released in North America.
No.
no, or it would cost $500 because it's an import or something, and
Yeah,
someone
and you
happened to
have to
have a
get
copy of
yourself a
it.
PAL converter, and
Yeah,
Or
uh,
you go online and look for somebody who's made a localized version that
yeah,
they're selling on cartridge, but then what is that?
well, that's also pirating, right?
Well,
Because you're
that's a
paying
ROM,
someone to,
effectively.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
in essence.
and that's where the Super Nintendo Classic or the Nintendo Classic kind of changed the game for me. Is I have an original SNES controller, so I kind of get the original feeling of playing these games with the SNES controller or the NES controller. So it's yeah, there's games on NSO. I pay for NSO, like Nintendo
Hmm.
Switch Online,
yep,
and I'll still emulate some of those games on the Classic because it's a lot easier. Plus, I get the Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
Like Super Mario Brothers 3 being a key example. I didn't play that on the Nintendo Switch Online. I played that on the NES Classic.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a better way for me to play it because
Big time.
some of those
Yeah. Well, one of the
Yeah.
things we brought up is the way the buttons are angled, and it doesn't feel natural.
Really doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and you go back to the the NES version, and I was like jumping around like it was nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to have a shot at that again.
Yeah, just I'm actually thinking about now getting the NES controller for the Switch itself, but I just don't have the funds currently, and they always seem to go out of stock when I do have the funds.
That's true.
So
Yeah, it's almost like for how expensive that stupid little controller will get when they're out of stock and people are scalping them or reselling them or whatever. It's almost more worth it just to find an old NES and
Yeah,
start
true.
collecting games for it. Like that might be where I'm at. I just picked up that Sega over the weekend. Like
Oh yeah,
it's going to be
that thing's a
more likely
beauty.
for me. What's that?
That thing's a beauty.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be more likely for me that, especially if we're covering a Sega game, that I'm going to try to go pick up a copy of it, or just like
Yeah.
I might find something random and be like, "Hey guys, I just picked this up."
And
I
that's
started
not
with Primal Rage though.
nice. And
Yeah.
that's another reason I don't really do ROMs anymore because okay, I'm paying like a reseller or what have you, but I like the challenge of like actually finding that game. And I won't
Yeah.
get all of them.
I understand that one completely. I used to collect, and the hunt was more worth it than just getting the game, but unfortunately, I don't collect anymore, so I don't have all those consoles. But I get where you're coming from 100%.
but then if I'm going to pay 200-300 pounds for a copy of Symphony of the Night and it's not available anywhere else, I mean it's a poor example because it's available everywhere else, but maybe you are smarter for just emulating it because if, like you say, if the company's not going to get that money, then it just makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's not worth it.
and that's a morality issue, right? Like, Nintendo's against ROMs, but then again, why don't they friggin' release the games everybody's asking for?
Yeah,
Well, they had it right, and maybe there's business reasons for them not to do this,
Oh,
but
there's
they had
licensing rights and stuff, but I
well
get that.
licensing for certain games, but like they had it right when they had the whatever they had on the Wii U, like the virtual console on the Wii
oh,
U
that
and the
thing
Wii.
was a beauty.
I loved that you could just pick up a game a la carte, like, oh, I want Mega Man 5 and I can pay, $4.99 for Mega Man 5.
Yeah,
I
Perfect.
What pisses me off about that though is once the Wii U or the Wii disappears and the virtual console gets shut down, you no longer have access to those games you purchased.
Well, that's
right.
well, that's a Nintendo problem. And that's why like if they ever brought that system back, it would take me a really long time to adopt it fully because I would not have the confidence that there's any sort of permanence to my purchases.
Yeah,
Steam, on the other hand, uh, I logged into Steam when I got the Steam Deck, and it kept all of my profile information from like I hadn't logged onto Steam since like 2010. And it's like, oh, you played, Half-Life 2 for this amount of time, and back you last logged in 2011 or whatever. And it was like, that's incredible that I can pick up right where I left off with Steam, and it's a platform that's been in existence for going on probably what 2 decades now, or
Oh, more than that.
yeah. So Steam's got it right. I think where the home console market has it wrong is that you've got players like PlayStation and Nintendo that constantly recycle their interfaces when they're coming out with new systems. And if you've purchased something like digitally on the Switch, like I have no confidence that once the Switch shuts down, I'm going to be able to re-download anything ever again. So
yeah,
that's
Yeah,
a problem.
true enough.
which is stupid in my opinion. And it goes to the argument of do you actually own anything you purchase online? Because there's that Sony movie service. I think it was like Funimation or something like that that amalgamated
Hmm.
with Crunchyroll, and people were losing their purchases on Funimation.
Yes.
And it
And
was, go ahead, Sam.
I think digital purchases is like you're not actually purchasing the media itself. You're purchasing the rights to access it, which is
Yeah,
a
But
different. It's different.
if I pay like if I buy a movie online, so let's say I bought Deadpool
Yeah.
on YouTube videos or something, or Google videos, and I paid the $30 for Deadpool, the same price I'd pay for a physical copy I could keep forever.
Right.
And they decide they're going to yank Deadpool off the service, and I'm no longer going to have access to it. Does that make sense? Does that make the argument that pirating is wrong? Because I've paid for that copy, so I should be allowed to keep a copy of it forever, because
Right.
otherwise I'm renting. I'm paying $30 to rent something.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I think that's what the mindset is when it comes to like, digital media rights, is that you're kind of, that fee that you're paying for that digital, whatever it is, be it a game or a movie or a book, is like you're paying for access to it for as long as that access is available through that platform. And where, like with this Crunchyroll thing, is like, well, the platform no longer exists the way it did when you made that agreement. So it's bullshit. It's not right.
It is.
Yeah,
It's absolute bullshit.
How long?
That's
before
why
that
I
all
stick with
changes
physical
again?
whenever I can. Yeah.
God, yeah, absolutely.
But that's the other problem, is we're very quickly going away from a physical entertainment environment. DVDs and all that stuff are becoming more and more scarce. Even video games are putting in codes to download them now inside the case, and that's considered a physical copy.
That
Yeah,
pisses
fuck
me
that.
off.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Like, that's cheating.
Yeah, I also don't like when you buy a physical game. Like I've gotten Switch cartridges where it's like it includes a cartridge
download.
that has this much on it and then a download code for the
Yeah.
rest. It's like, no, put it all on the, like Resident Evil. I have Resident Evil and Resident Evil 0 or whatever on a Switch cartridge, and Resident Evil 0 is the one that's on the Switch cartridge, and then I had a download code for Resident Evil. It was like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Put it all in one cartridge. I know it fits.
It would fit. It would 100%
Yeah.
fit.
It's
Those
not
games are
the,
not that big.
no.
See, that's why I don't have the same argument when it comes to like a Netflix or a PlayStation Plus or Game Pass service, because I'm paying for a service, so I'm at the mercy of what's on the service. So
Right.
that doesn't incense me when they pull the game off. Like I was right in the middle of playing Stray when it left PlayStation Plus, but because I was paying for the service and not the game, it didn't really piss me off,
Yeah,
because
I get that.
My money went to the whole totality of the service, not that specific game. But if I were to buy the specific game and they pulled it off and said, well, tough shit,
Right.
we're going to keep your money, well, that's a different story.
It did bother me a
that's-
little bit when I was almost done with Horizon Zero Dawn and they pulled it, though.
Yeah,
It's
It
because you
bothered
got to
me.
play faster.
we really are at the whims of the digital age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
For better
definitely a
and
fun,
worse.
interesting future. But all right, man, wow, we're at $1.50 right now. You guys, well, I guess a little bit earlier if you go by the fact that like 12 minutes was us just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Any final words on ROMs?
Yeah, use them if you want to, but don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to judge anybody for using
Yeah,
ROMs. It's
yeah.
like, who the fuck am I? Like, I shouldn't admit this, but I got way too many ROMs. I got ROMs of stuff I own, so
Yeah,
it
there's
just
no
feels
problem
good to
with
have
that.
a backup.
maybe.
Yeah,
just,
there's no problem with that.
just don't steal games.
That's the big one. If you can buy it, and if I can buy it, I will
Yeah.
buy it.
But the game,
Absolutely.
if it's not available and nobody's doing anything with it, and you really want to play it, then I think, again, from a games preservation point of view, then have at it.
Yeah, a lot of rare games out there that sell for like $1,500 or whatever ridiculous price.
Yeah, I mean, fuck that.
Those are games. Absolutely get the ROM if you just want to play the game. If you want to collect it, spend the money. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you say, boys? We're going to call this another episode of RetroBytes.
I think
Yeah,
so.
that was a good
Right,
one.
Yeah,
That was a good
yeah,
time.
Alan. It's tomorrow already in your land.
Not far off. 11:30.
Not far off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sam, it's really early in yours, and you have to have supper, young man. You haven't eaten all day.
No, I did actually. We went at work. We went out for lunch, and I got a big old cheeseburger. So I was
Attaboy.
my stomach is
USA.
probably full for the rest of the day. Yeah,
Say, if you need a snack, you got rabbit outside.
Yeah, exactly.
I do.
Just
Yeah,
send the
baby
dogs.
rabbit is delectable. You just
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's it for another episode of RetroBytes. Sam, Alan, thank you again for being my friend. And
Oh,
I look forward to gaming and talking to you guys again. So I'll talk to you later.
hell yeah.
See ya. Thank you for being a friend. Oh, little Golden Girls.